Good morning. Today is Tuesday, October 15th. I'm Corva Coleman from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. Israel is planning to strike Iran in the coming weeks, targeting military sites, according to an official who spoke with NPR. These won't be energy or nuclear infrastructure. Israel says it will be in retaliation for Iran's recent missile attack. NPR's Daniel Estern reports from Tel Aviv.
Israel has informed the Biden administration that it's planning to strike Iran before U.S. elections, November 5th. That's according to an official familiar with the matter who spoke on condition of anonymity to share details about Israel's confidential plans. The U.S. and Israel have been closely coordinating on the nature of Israel's retaliation. The official said some Israeli security officials have advocated for hitting Iran's nuclear facilities, which the U.S. has rejected. The Prime Minister's office said Israel listens to the U.S. position, but would make its final decisions based on Israel's national interests. Daniel Estrin, NPR News, Tel Aviv.
Federal disaster workers briefly halted, then changed how they were doing hurricane recovery work in some parts of North Carolina. But they got weekend threats that they could be targeted by a militia. One man has now been arrested for making the threats. Pete Gaynor is a former FEMA administrator during the Trump administration. He says the threats hurt the recovery work.
We have the best mission in the federal government, helping people before, during, and after disaster. I think we have some of the most dedicated employees that are trying to do that for their fellow Americans. And stuff like this, it's not good for morale for anyone on the team.
Former President Donald Trump and his allies have spread misinformation about the storm's aftermath that government officials have had to repeatedly debunk. Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance visited Minneapolis yesterday. It is the home turf of his rival, Democratic vice presidential candidate Tim Walz. Vance appeared at a former police station that was set on fire in May 2020 following the murder of George Floyd. Minnesota Public Radio's Clay Masters reports.
J.D. Vance used the former Minneapolis 3rd Precinct police station as a backdrop as he talked about the city as one in decline.
The story of Minneapolis is coming to every community across the United States of America if we promote Kamala Harris to President of the United States.
Vance said Governor Walz abandoned the police station as rioters set it on fire. Walz called up the first contingent of soldiers on the day the building was set on fire, but not in time to keep rioters from overrunning the station that night. The city has since found a new location for the 3rd Precinct. However, the heavily damaged former one remains unoccupied. For NPR News, I'm Clay Masters in Minneapolis.
Canada and India have each expelled 6 diplomats. Canada began the process after federal authorities alleged that Indian diplomats in Canada were engaging in criminal activity, including homicide. India responded with its own expulsions. Indian officials say the accusations are contemptuous. This is NPR.